Hello everybody. I'm actually just creating a video here just showing physical media releases of Christian movies and TV shows. We'll start off with the most notable one, Passion of the Christ. This particular version, between the DVD and this particular version, is the only way you can currently watch the Passion of the Christ, except for digital. This particular version here does have the theatrical as well as the recut version, which means you can watch it with English dubbed. It's still in Aramaic as far as the language that the lips are moving in, so if you're the type of person that doesn't like that, but it does help for people that don't want to read subtitles for the whole movie. I'm indifferent. I still like reading the subtitles. Hearing the language that Jesus actually would have spoke is pretty cool. We have Bible the Mini series. This literally is kind of like an overview of the Bible, and like a theatrical release. It does have 10 episodes. They're approximately about an hour, give or take, per episode. So it's kind of a nice introduction to the Bible. Of course, it's an overview. It's not really an in-depth study or anything like that. So would definitely recommend it. We continue with AD. The Bible continues. This starts from the book of Acts all the way through the New Testament. Also, same vein of the Bible miniseries. It's not as good as production as I remember with the Bible, but it's something I do recommend that you do check it out at least. Heaven's for Real. Heaven's for Real is, I would imagine, the last few years. It's based on a book about this kid. He encounters a near-death experience and he sees his grandpa and who he never met. And it's a true story based on the book. So I do recommend that you check it out. It's a pretty good movie overall. Woodlawn is also based on a true story. It's a PureFlix production. It's about a school in Birmingham, Alabama. It's a segregated sports team in football, and so basically it's just kind of a story of a team coming together and not letting differences of race divide them. Young Messiah is about a story about Jesus. It's kind of a literary work. It's not actually biblical or a verse by verse kind of thing, but it's a very entertaining film. It's actually from director Chris Columbus, or at least the writer. Chris Columbus has made quite a bit of movies. Home Alone. There you go. You can see him right here. I think he produced it. Doesn't look like he made it, but he did produce it. But I know he's on one of the special features on here. And it's a very good movie taking place around the age of Jesus coming back from Egypt and his family, from being basically a refugee in Egypt ever since he was a young child because he grew up in Egypt. Let There Be Light is a Sean Hannity produced film. It's about just this father and the family. The father is not in a good spot with his wife and faith, values, things of that nature, relationship with Christ, and he ends up coming to Christ, and it's actually a very emotional movie, very good, and I think it can be relatable with our current climate and our culture, with broken families. Do You Believe is also a production from PureFlix. It's one of the earlier productions. It basically is like different lives from different people, different characters, and different lives and aspects, even different parts of like our society. You know, somebody's going through something different, and it kind of collages all these together. It's actually a really good take. I enjoyed the movie, and of course I know I say I enjoy it because it's a good movie because I own them. However, it really is. There's some movies in here that I'll be honest, they're very low budget, and they leave a lot to be desired. I'll tell you that. But what's cool is the message behind the movie. I can only imagine. If you've not heard of this film, to be honest with you, I'm sure you've heard the song. I'm pretty sure most people that aren't even Christians know the song I Can Only Imagine. especially if they're over the age of probably 24. Here's Jesus music, the Jesus music. So it's literally the music of contemporary Christian music, kind of where it is today. So if that's something that you're interested in, this is like a documentary. It was put out by the same people that made Jesus Revolution, that made I Can Only Imagine, that made um, I Still Believe, which is the Jeremy Camp story. Here is The Blind. This recently came out last September. As of the filming of this, it is July of 2024. This is the Phil Robertson story and the story of the Duck Dynasty family. It's a very impactful film, a very, very impactful film. It's a very strong marriage film and a strong redemption of how far somebody can go, and yet Christ is still able to live in their life and redeem somebody that's too far gone. You're never too far gone. I love this movie so much. And it just the aspects that it stands for marriage, just to show you. I actually have the poster of it right here, just because I'm so proud of that movie, and would absolutely love to meet the cast and meet the director and all of them one day. The next film is a Kendrick Brothers film. Kendrick Brothers, I would say, are really big for Sherwood Films in Georgia. They make some very impactful films at a high production value, I would say, too, for being an independent. They are affiliated now with Affirm Films and Sony, but they didn't start off that way. They've really grown into quite the production studio. To be honest, they're quite the powerhouse. Between Overcomer, you do have the documentary on fatherhood, Show Me the Father. And then you have one based on adoption, which the Kendrick Brothers also put out, and they're very powerful films. To be honest, they're very realistic. Of course, they do have Flywheel, which is their first film, Facing the Giants, Courageous, Fireproof, War Room. These, unfortunately, I do not have on Blu-ray, but I do have a digital copy of these, and I still like to have them in my collection because it reminds me of where they came from. And I can always pop this in the DVD player if I'm taking this to where there's not really any phone service or something. I can hook up a portable player and still watch the films or introduce people to the films. And this is something that you can hand to somebody that you don't have to rely on having a digital copy for. I Still Believe. This is the Jeremy Camp story about him and his first wife. And it's a very emotional movie. I'll be honest, when COVID happened, this movie actually released the weekend of the lockdowns. So this came out, and then literally like a Friday or Thursday or Friday, and then that Monday or Tuesday is when COVID hit big time, and they initiated the 2-week lockdown. So I actually remember being in the theater, and I was like here on opening day for this movie, and it was very, very difficult to watch. I'll be honest, it's still difficult to watch. And anybody out there that has had a family member go through a medical episode, let alone a spouse, it's just one of those films that I would say it's an amazing film as far as commitment and what love is. And it's in the same vein as the I Can Only Imagine. It's the same brothers that did it, the Irwin brothers. Another film that the Irwin brothers did, Jesus Revolution. This film is the story of how a bunch of hippies got saved radically. And Greg Laurie, who has been a very big influence in my life as far as how to read the Bible and how to read Scripture and just growing closer with the Lord. It's been a long time coming with this movie. And I actually, 2 years ago, no, last year, correction, 2 years ago. Oh my goodness, my brain is fogging. I actually went to Pirates Cove where they did the baptism scene, and it was absolutely amazing. I got to hang out in Costa Mesa and actually went to Harvest there. Since I live in the Midwest, that actually is kind of a huge journey for me. I was able to do that with me and my wife. So here's a couple of animated films. Obviously, Road to El Dorado and Sinbad are not Christian films, but the Prince of Egypt and Joseph, King of Dreams are. And this will be end of part 1.